All right, welcome back to Adobe Lightroom Classic, and Classic is the desktop version. If you are using mobile or CC, that's for tablets and phones. And in this set of tutorials, I don't really use those programs, so I kind of stick to Classic. I've had some updates here in June of 2022. Not any major updates. They've just improved the way some things work, though they have added a few new features. Some of the features, like video editing, I'm not going to cover, and some searching fields or searching mechanisms within the program, just because they're things that I don't use. I'm not really sure why anybody would want to edit video in Lightroom. There's much better programs to do that in. But let's go ahead and take a look at the features that I think are going to be the most useful for us here in Lightroom. And the first one is going to be in the presets, which I don't actually use in Lightroom because I do most of my presets as actions in Photoshop. There's nothing wrong with using presets in Lightroom. It's just I choose a different direction to do it. But let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to go ahead and open up this image here in the develop module. And you can see over here, I've opened this up. So we have our presets wide open. And in here, we've got some new presets, and we're just going to do something in here interesting. We'll try over them, and that looks like a dramatic change, so that will work. So we've done this preset, and it's applied this change. And now what we have over here is one of the new features, and this is an amount slider. A lot of people will think of this maybe as opacity. You're changing how much is being applied to the image. If you've ever worked in Photoshop and you've changed the opacity of a layer or a group, this is basically doing the same thing. It's just written as amount. And as you slide this to the left, it's removing this adjustment from the image. All right. And as you go this way, you can actually go past 0 and increase that to make it more pronounced. So that amount slider starts at 100. If you go higher than 100, it's increasing it, and down, it's decreasing it. And what that's doing is it's looking over here and it's moving everything incremental. So as I go down, it's moving all these sliders at the same time down and removing it evenly from the image. This is a pretty cool new feature because the truth is, when you use a preset, it doesn't work perfectly for every single image. Being able to have the ability to kind of slide that one way or another and sort of refine it and get it looking exactly how you want is going to be helpful. Now, if you like creating your own presets, we'll come down here and we'll click the plus. I'm going to hit create preset. You need to make sure now that support amount slider is selected when you make that preset. Otherwise, you won't have the ability to do this. And you might run into a few of these where this doesn't work, and that's because this wasn't checked, and that would be the reason that you wouldn't have an amount slider. So just a little hint to those of you who like to create presets. Remember, if you want this amount slider, you need to make sure that that box has been checked. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of this. So I've changed images here just so we have something different to look at. And the next adjustment here is probably the most important one as far as photo editing. That has to do with AI selections such as subject and sky. Now, both of what I'm doing work with both subject and sky, but we're just going to take a look at it on sky. So what we do is we come on over to here. Is remember that this is our new masking icon. We're going to select that. And when we do it, we get these new AI options up here, which are select subject and select sky. Now, if you had a subject you wanted selected, you would obviously do select subject. In this case, we're going to do select sky. Just like before, it is no different. It's automatically made that mask. The overview that we're seeing is just kind of the black and the white version. White is where the adjustment is going to be shown. Black is going to be where it's hidden. And remember, when I'm doing these adjustments, I'm doing a ridiculous adjustment so you can see what's happening. I'm trying to show you what's new and what's different. I'm not trying to really show you how to make things look beautiful. So let's go ahead and take the saturation out. So it's going to make this almost completely black and white up here. Well, why? Because we've selected the sky and that's what we want to adjust. So let's go ahead and darken this a little bit so you can see. So we've got this new gray, dark sky. And at this point, there's been no change. There's nothing new. All right, so the first thing that we're going to take a look at, which is new, is in this case, a lot of times when you make an adjustment in one location, you don't want it to apply here, but you still might want to make a selective adjustment. There's no AI version to select this area, only the sky. So before you just had to go in and do the same thing and then invert it. Now they fixed it and added something. So we can come on up here into the icon and you'll notice that there are 3 little dots. If you click on those 3 little dots, we have some new things. First, there's an invert mask, but what we want is duplicate invert the mask. So it's going to create a new mask and invert it for us automatically. I'm going to click OK. Just like that. Now we have the opposite. It's kind of like the yin and the yang. And then I can come in here and I can darken this up. I could open up my shadows. Let's say we wanted to make this one more colorful. So we've got 2 different masks here. One working for the foreground and one working for the sky. And that was easily done by simply coming up here, clicking on the 3 little dots and going up here to duplicate and invert mask. Now, another way that we could do that obviously was to go back to how we were. So we could go here, we could go create, select sky. So we select the sky and then we can hit invert mask 2. And then it's inverting it. It's doing the same thing, but it was doing it in one easy step rather than having to go through that whole long, arduous process. And that really speeds things up. But just like we saw in the presets, we now have an amount slider up here. So we can control the amount of this selective adjustment just in this specific area. This is a huge leap or great advantage inside of Lightroom. This is something that you could very easily have done with the opacity slider in Photoshop, but now they've added an amount slider in Lightroom. So if we make an adjustment, we can go back at any time and kind of vary that depending on how much or how little of it that we want. So we have both amount sliders here and in presets, which is absolutely wonderful. Now, the cool thing is we can apply what I did here to any image automatically. So what we'll do is we'll go up here to settings. We'll go from settings to copy settings. So Command Shift C, Control Shift C, quick key. And then you're going to have the availability here to select what adjustments that you want. In this case, I don't want any of this stuff, let's say. Off all this extra stuff here. What we want is the masking. Masking here. This is great because you could never before copy in Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom selective adjustments to another image. This is only going to probably let us do this with AI because it's automatically making the selection for us. But still, this is a really cool addition to Adobe Lightroom. And then we're going to hit copy, go down here to another image. We can go back up to settings and we can hit paste settings. And in this case, you can say that little window came up and it was adaptively figuring out where the mask should be, which is cool. So you can see the mask is right there. It's figuring out, it should be in the sky. And then we have a second mask where it's the opposite and inverted, and it's made those adjustments to that photo. So if we click on mask 2, you can see it's making those adjustments. And if we click on mask 1, it's making those adjustments. So this got darker and more saturated, and this got desaturated and darkened up here in the sky. So super cool new addition to Adobe Lightroom. So we're going to go ahead and hit reset there. We're going to keep this here. So we've copied these settings. We're going to make sure in library they have this image first, and then we're going to select these other 3 images. We're going to come down here to sync settings. We're going to make sure that we have masking selected. We could do the others, but in this case, For this tutorial, we're just doing masking. We're going to hit synchronize. It's going to go through its little process of making sky selections in each one of these, doing the invert. And now you can see in each one of these images, if we go to the develop module, it's made those as a batch option across the board. So everything has been grayed and darkened, and here it's been darkened and saturated in every single image. And all I had to do was do it in this first image right there. So this is a amazing time saver. And if you remember looking in the beginning of this program, let's go ahead and open this up, and we're going to go ahead and hit reset just to bring this to the beginning. You'll remember that right here we have adaptive sky or adaptive subject. And what these adaptives are doing are they're making sky selections. And because they're adaptive, meaning that you can apply this through different images. So I could actually select all these images here, hit blue drama, and then we could basically apply the blue drama adaptively through different images as a batch if we wanted to do that as well. These kind of adaptive adjustments are really, really cool because normally you would need to have the exact same image and you would just do it on little small variations of that image. But in this case, they can be completely different images because AI is making the selection for us and then applying the adjustment to it. Well, that's it for some of the new major options inside Adobe Lightroom Classic inside the June of 2022 update. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you found this video helpful, and don't forget to subscribe.